Hi, my name is Angela, and this is my midterm project for CIS 3367 for Professor Wheeler. For my project, I decided to research on whether Americans are stressed or happy, and what are the factors that make them happy or stressed. The reason why I chose this topic is because recently my friend told me that he observed that a lot of Americans are sad and depressed and stressed, and I wanted to see whether his hypothesis is correct or not. So for my research, I had to conduct my own survey, and here are screenshots of my survey. Yeah. You can also find the link for my survey here, and also I posted it down in the description below. Oh, and now here is the data that I conducted from my survey. There were a total of 110 people that answered my survey, and that is my sample size. And looking at the data right now, there are a lot of numbers and words, and that you can't really make sense out of this raw data. So that's why Excel is really awesome. It can help you interpret this data and help you make better visualization and representation, so it's more easily comprehensible. Now in the third tab, I have two charts. One shows the level of happiness and the other one shows the level of stress. And in both charts, it's ranked from level 1 to 5. 1 stands for not very happy in this chart, and in the second chart, it stands for not very stressed. And for the level 5, it represents very stressed, and over here it represents very happy. And now that seeing these two charts, you can see that a lot more people are stressed than happy, because there are 23 people claims that they are very stressed, and only 9 people claims that they're very happy. And when you add up the people that claims to be very stressed and stressed, there are 60 people that claims this, and there's only 53 people that claims to be very happy or happy. So this showcases that American peoples are stressed. And now let's break it down into locations. Now we have here our two maps, and these two maps represents the same location, but on the top map it shows the amount of people that are different level of happiness, and on the bottom map it shows the different level of stress. And we can click on the different type of levels. So I'm gonna click on very happy, and then it will show us the different regions and the number of people that are very happy. So for Queens, there are 3 individuals that claims to be very happy, and in Brooklyn there's 2 individuals that claims to be very happy. So as you can see, the amounts are pretty much like proportional within the very happy section within the different regions. So now let's look at the people that claims to be very stressed and the different regions that they're in. So for the very stressed, we have 5 people from Queens that claims to be very stressed, and 8 people from Manhattan claims to be very stressed, and 2 people from Brooklyn claims to be very stressed. So it seems that the people in Manhattan tends to be more stressed compared to all the other boroughs, while the people that are very happy tends to be pretty spread out within the different boroughs. And now let's look at our first pivot table and the different activities. So in our pivot table, in the first column, I have the list of all the individuals that participated in my survey. Since they didn't provide me with their names, right, I gave them. The number ranges from 1 to 110, and in the other columns we have all the different activities and how much time each individual spent on all these activities on a daily basis. So at the far right, I have a sum column, and even though these activities and the hours spent are listed on a daily basis, the sum doesn't equal to 24, because a lot of these activities can be done simultaneously. So for example, you could be studying and on your devices at the same time. So then you'll book 7 hours for studying, because that's how many hours you spend, and you'll book 5 hours on your devices, because that is really how much hours you spend. And if you just add it up like that, that'll be equal to 12. And that's not real, doesn't really portray you spent half your day just solely studying on your devices. So that's why the sum doesn't have to equal to 24, because a lot of the times the numbers are accounted for twice or multiple times. And now the number on the top here represents the averages for the amount of time spent for the different activities. So for sleeping, people tend to spend 6.49 hours sleeping, and for commuting 2.35 hours. And now I'm going to copy these averages on the top so we can use it as reference. So now I'm just going to paste them as values so it won't affect our reference later. And as you can see in my filter, currently I have how happy are you and how stressed are you, and both of them are set at all. Now I'm going to change it to very happy and have the different level of stress. And you can see that once I did this change, the average changed, and before the average was 6.49 hours, and now the average of sleeping is 14 hours. So this shows that people are usually happier when they get to sleep more. And also this also applies for the amount of time spent at school and on schoolwork, because on average people usually spend 4.65 hours on schoolwork, and when they spend 9 hours on schoolwork they tend to be happier, which I find surprising, but this is what my research shows. And I didn't mention about the commuting, because even though there was a change in average, the change wasn't that significant, so I didn't think it was worthy enough to mention it. Now I am going to copy the average again and paste it on top just like what we did before. So I'm going to paste it as values. And this time I am going to select very stressed and all types of level of happiness. And once again, the average changed again. And in the second row now, I am going to take the difference between the average of very happy and the average of very stressed. And I am going to drag this formula down the row. And as you can see, some of the cells turn red because I have a condition, a rule there, saying that if the variance is greater than 3, absolute value of 3, it'll turn red to indicate that it was a big change. And I think 3 is a big change because 3 out of 24 hours represents 1/8 of the day, which makes it a reasonable number to set as our threshold. And seeing that commuting has the greatest variance, so I decided to dig even further on the commuting, and I have a tab especially for commuting. In this tab, I have a chart that lists out the different types of transportation, and in the 2 charts on the bottom, it has the different level of happiness and the different level of stress associated with the different modes of transportation. And now in the slicers, I'm going to select very happy and very stressed to see which type of transportation affects our moods the most. And as you can see, public transportation is the one that affects us the most. So there are 17 people that claims to be very stressed and takes public transportation, and 7 people claims to be very happy after public And now let's look at our dashboard. For my dashboard, I split it into 2 sections. The top portion represents the level of happiness, and the bottom portion represents the level of stress. And we can click on the slicers to see all the different categories and factors that's associated with the different levels of happiness and stress. So I will click on the very happy, and I'll click on the very stressed. And as you can see, there are more males that claims to be very happy, and females, on the other hand, claims more to be very stressed. For the number of jobs, we have a mixed response, and for both of them, there are more people that claims to be happy and stressed when they have only 1 job compared to when they have 2 jobs. So that one's a mixed response. And for our third chart, we have a list of what people want to do more on their free time. So maybe if the people that are stressed are able to fulfill these activities, they'll feel a little less stressed and maybe they'll feel more happier. Although we don't know the answer to that question, but Excel has really helped us a lot with analyzing a lot of our other data. So it's a really great and wonderful tool, and we're very lucky to have it. And thank you all for watching my video.